Greet the Reaper for me.
I'm ready.
Meet your maker.
I'll yield to none.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So, it wasn't a dream after all.
Now, where did I leave my calipers?
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already?
Ah, you're there. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with the others.
Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those source spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it, see? The collar's function. It neuters you, of sorts. Makes you unable to cast source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's. Oh dear. I'm afraid you're a long way from home, milady. A long way from the little bells that make footmen come a-running.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative.
It seems as though there's a pattern.
Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good girl, perhaps a cure as well. An end to source. For good.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural. indications of a struggle. No lesions, no trauma. He was bled by magic. No known associates.
Good God. There's been a murder here.
To spending time with the others.
A young magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass. Behind the magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
No marks, no indications of a struggle.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. It's a small ship. His name was Finn. Oddball. Looked to me like he saw something he wished he hadn't before he came here. We'll find out who did it, one way or another. Nothing to see here.
My, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Finn was killed by Source. If a Magister could do that, there wouldn't be a Magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Thanks. I just want to catch whoever did this before they hurt anyone else. Who? No lesions, no trauma. He was bled by magic.
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
What a well of knowledge this tome is. Dallas is such a dear lending it to me.
No marks, no indications of a struggle.
It was one of them. I know it. Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate. They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them. I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on. One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one. Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up? You think me mad? Mad? Insufferable, surely. What are you trying to hear anyway? I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, Ghetto. You hear that?
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty.
The ship, of course.
The Magister's more concerned than more appetite.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty.
There now, just like that.
Magister's more concerned than more appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing.
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
Never thought you'd end up a prisoner.
There, you heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, kiddo. Good news.
Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
No, you beautiful idiot. That wasn't any rat. It was the wheel. Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we'd been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. Yeah, no indeed, kiddo. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank ye kindly, Gero.
This wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you anymore.
Classify this slop as food. I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
You one of them? A Divine Order loyal? They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom. Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
You're a human, like me. That means we're friends already. My mum told me not to make friends with lizards and elves and dwarves and stuff. But I think they're okay.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
More concern than your appetite.
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la.
Ah, there you are, wife. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not at all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeve refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You'd presume right. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse.
Mad?
All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them. I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
Oh, goodness, no. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure
On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Insufferable, surely. What are you trying to hear anyway?
Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfactory answer indeed. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mest. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well,
The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you.
So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can tailor and groom, but you have the taste buds of a dung beetle. Still, beggars can't be choosers. So without further ado, I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
My slave, of course. Oh, but I see. Yes, I suppose it must take some time for the full extent of this honor to sink in. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy. Now shoo!
Sing us a song. I know you can.
A no doesn't become a yes over time.
I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate. They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them. I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on. One of us would kill our own.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this trampy fan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all
Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your...
Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You! What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of places.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
That has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.